3, 2, 1. Say your name and spell your name.
Zachary Fuselier, Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y-F-U-S-E-L-I-E-R.
So, Zach, why is it important to keep the Cajun French culture alive?
It's important to keep it alive because, in my opinion, we're so unique here in South Louisiana. Our food, our culture, our music, our way of life. It's just something that we've held close to our hearts for generations, our ancestors as well. And so I just feel like we need to keep that pride of being Cajun and Creole as well. Just to remind ourselves, remind people of my generation and younger of who we are, where we've been, and because we can't know where to go in the future if we don't know our past.
So I know you play the fiddle and a bunch of other instruments. Are you glad you can play again?
I am. It's a little different having not played for basically almost a year, so I feel a little bit rusty. But it'll just take a few gigs, a few times playing to get back in the groove, and it'll be fun. I've played a couple times throughout since it shut down, and those times that I have played have felt really awesome, really good. I was like, man, I missed this.
How do you think COVID affected people learning about the Cajun culture?
It really affected it. People weren't able to get out for festivals, especially like Festivals Acadiens and Creole here at Girard Park. So people from all over the world, all over the country weren't able to come this year, which was very sad. But for safety reasons, obviously. And then I think it may have piqued their interest more to search out ways to learn about Cajun culture, Cajun music, Cajun food. With all this downtime, everybody's looking up stuff on the internet, staying at home. So it kind of, we evolved our way of doing festivals or playing gigs. I've seen people play gigs on social media, on video platforms, which is really neat. That we never thought that would have happened unless COVID would have came about.
What is one thing you want people to know about the Cajun culture?
One thing I want people to know about the Cajun culture is that is our history. We're of French descent, but we're not necessarily French. The Acadians came over to Canada, settled in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick area, those provinces, and got deported down here to Louisiana. Being Cajun is not only being Acadian, but also having this Creole influences, so African, Native American, Spanish, all European influences, all mixed together.
What is the biggest difference between Cajun and Creole that you know of?
So there's a few different definitions of Creole, which makes it hard. Creole is either someone born in the New World of European descent, or someone with mixed of European or African, Native American, any of that mixture of ethnicities, or the predominantly African American people of South Louisiana. So you have a few different definitions of it. To me, Cajun is more European descent, French descent, and Creole is more of that more African American descent difference of Cajun and Creole.
So how did you learn about Cajun French?
So I was put into the French immersion program since I was in kindergarten, so about 5 years old. Completed that through 8th grade and then took French classes in high school. I just knew about it.
Hold on. They're talking.
Okay, so we're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
How's it going so far? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, and you're at about 5 minutes. A little over 5.
I like to talk.
5 minutes.
How long do you need it to be, or how short do you need it to be?
I don't know. She didn't tell us.
Alright, well I'll just keep rambling.
Yeah. I think it's like a 2-minute segment.
Well, I'm gonna give you more than 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And I just take the best of what I give you. If you have any. Where was I standing about? Right here, I guess?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like too obvious that I moved.
So how did you learn about Cajun French?
How did I learn about Cajun French? So, like I was saying, that I was put in the French immersion programs in kindergarten, so at about 5 years old. Did that all through 8th grade, and then took French classes in high school. When I was real young, kindergarten age, I was just learning French from a Belgian teacher. They didn't have a whole lot of local native Louisiana teachers, so teachers came from France, Belgium, Africa, Canada, Francophone countries. We'd go to my great-grandparents' house, which in fact is the house that I'm renovating now. We'd go and we'd visit not every day, every afternoon or so, but every few days. And you know, my great-grandfather would ask what we had for lunch in French. And I would just tell him. I'd say we had rice and gravy, and what kind of meat or green, like what kind of vegetables, different things like that. And that was about the extent of French that I used. I didn't realize there was a difference of Cajun French. It was just French, you know. That's what they spoke. My great-grandparents spoke. We were taught a little bit different French, still the same language. It wasn't up until about 5th grade. 6th grade, I was introduced to a lot of Cajun French, a lot of Cajun vocabulary, because I had a teacher, Kirby Jeanvon, from Lafourche Parish, so down the bayou, like a lot of people say. But he, one of those native Louisiana French teachers, which was really awesome. He introduced a lot of Cajun vocabulary, and about that time, 5th grade, 6th grade, I was starting to spend the weekends at my grandmother's house. My great-grandparents had gotten a little too old to stay by themselves, so they moved in back with my grandmother. And I was spending the night, Saturday nights with them, Sunday mornings. So I got a lot of practice, a lot of, like I said, practice time, experience speaking, using my French. And I guess that's about when 5th grade, 6th grade, I kind of started realizing Cajun French is a little different than what's taught in school, but it's still very much the same language, and very much someone can learn French in school, or standard French like they call it, and transition to Cajun French easily. Just got to work at it.
What made you want to play Cajun music?
What made me want to play Cajun music? So about that same age, 5th grade, 6th grade. So let's back up. I was about I guess 12 years old. Yeah, so about the same age. A few years before, I had wanted a fiddle, a violin, a fiddle, for my birthday or Christmas. I forget which one, because I wanted to learn that. My dad had an accordion, built an accordion, a Cajun accordion. And taught myself and my brother and my sister all to play a few songs that he knew. You know, he's not a musician, but he knew a few things, so he taught us that. But I wasn't interested in that. I mean, I did it, I can do it, but I was more interested in fiddle playing, because I knew they had so many accordion players, and still do, but the amount of fiddle players in Cajun music was very minimalist. So I was like, somebody's got to keep up the tradition of Cajun fiddling. So I was like, I like that instrument. And just ever since then, I've been attracted to the fiddle a little bit more. Not that I love accordion music, like, don't get me wrong. I'd love, if I have to listen to one, I'd love to hear accordion over fiddle. But there's just something about playing the fiddle that I can express myself better than accordion musically.
What are some things you learned from the Cajun members of your family?
Well, all my family is Cajun, except I guess my grandmother. My grandmother is from Okinawa. My grandfather met her in the service in the 50s, 60s. So my whole life has been Cajun. It's just, I guess I didn't realize we were Cajun until we met other people that were not Cajun, you know, because everything that we did, everybody else did around, because I grew up in Scott, still live in Scott, came to Lafayette for a big part of my life, so everybody in Scott, Lafayette area, Lafayette Parish is all mostly Cajun. I don't know, it's just something that everybody did. You didn't realize that it was Cajun. The extent of what was Cajun was speaking French, playing Cajun music. That I realized was, I guess, different from what everybody, my peers did, speaking French. But then again, everybody spoke, it was just normal for us to speak French. You know, you're kindergarten, you're 5, 6, 7 years old, you don't think anything of it because everybody else right next to you is doing the same thing. So it was normal for us. I don't know if I answered your question.
It's okay. How much do festivals teach about Cajun culture?
Festivals, especially Festival Acadiana Creole here in Girard Park, teaches a lot.